namaste, how's it going? So today the buzzword for me is just simply energy. And again, the infinite connectivity of energy and how truly heightening our ability to pay attention to our own energetic patterning is really key in our ability to dissolve lower patternings of separation and continue to expand into higher levels of light and frequency. And again, I get this real sense sometimes that there's nothing to do. There's nothing that we have to do to get there. It's all like an agreement. It's all happening to us. And it's amazing to think that every experience that presents itself isn't necessarily what we immediately think, especially when new things come into our reality, and we might notice ourselves reacting in a way that would be normal, I guess, or reacting in a way that our old self would have reacted. And so now I feel like we're really heading into this time where, with this greater awareness, we're seeing situations unfold and very aware of how different our own reactions are, or how different our perception of that certain reality is. And I sometimes find myself, when I'm getting a bit poignant about a situation or indeed a circumstance in my own life, I find it really useful to remind myself that we are all one, that we are all infinitely connected. And it's really only through the attachment of projected ideas that we hold on to people or hold on to circumstances. I'm getting more and more of a sense that really, really, really life does not have to be repetitive, that there can be this ever-blossoming expansion of really beautiful and harmonious experiences. And of course, there's a sense of challenge and learning along the way, but even that is not, it doesn't have to be challenge as in suffering. It can just be challenge as in adventure, excitement. Nerves and excitement are really the same emotional frequency. It's all about how you're looking. Are you looking at something with anxiety and fear, or really base kind of instinctual reactions? Or are you bringing those reactions into your heart so that you can transmute them and see them with love? And the subtleties, and really picking up on the subtleties with which our mind is accustomed to judging or attacking a situation. And I think this is part of why perhaps I've withdrawn for the last few years so, I guess, drastically or so diligently, not going out, not engaging, being very, very, diligent with my energy, with my time, as far as if I'm going into a certain environment and I feel a little bit chaotic or insecure, or I start to feel drained, or I start to feel nauseous in my stomach, then that is my body saying, this is not your kind of environment. You should think about leaving soon. So because you start to go purely on your own instinctual, your own sense of self and your own alignment to oneness, you know that you're always upholding the totality. You know that you're always lifting yourself and others up. And that's where, again, don't judge a book by its cover, or don't judge yourself by your circumstances, and indeed don't judge others. Just because somebody appears to be having a negative reaction, you don't need to judge them for it. You don't need to be like, why is that person reacting like that? You can just be an open heart and allow that person to have that divine reaction, because that's exactly what they need in that moment. And as long as we're staying true to ourselves, usually a energetic tangent like that will actually begin to dissolve if you just hold space for people. If you don't jump on the bandwagon and get all involved, usually an open, neutral awareness actually helps to dissolve things like anger or even violence. jealousy, bitchiness, like all those kind of very, I would say, born of separation emotions that we experience as humans. It's those emotions really that we're working with as far as dissolving the power they have over us. So essentially what we do is observe them to own them, and then through the ownership and almost embracing or loving of them through the experience of suffering to always evolve, that process then allows us to eventually drop them and then rise up and then rise up. And I'm amazed as I speak to you about energy, because just my fam and I were talking about it last night about, you know, we think we know everything, and then more stuff happens, and then more stuff happens, and more stuff happens. And I get that feeling a lot sometimes of like, there's so much, you know, like here I am, I feel like I'm in a way just scratching the surface of my own potential or my own excitement and passion for life. I feel like I'm sometimes just scratching the surface, even though I feel so amazing and so wonderful, and like I feel so blessed and grateful for everything in now. But then because I'm feeling all these amazing feelings most of the time, I'm like, oh my God, what does this mean? You know, what kind of world am I creating? What kind of experiences am I allowing in? And so as I say that, that's something to be really aware of as far as when past emotional frequencies come to trigger us once more, especially ones that we might think we've dissolved, and ones that have to do with other people as well. I mean, it always does have to do with other people, but I'll probably won't go into great detail right now, but at some point on this all to love trajectory, this all to love expansive journey that I'm on, I really want to talk about sexuality at some point, because I feel like that is something massively suppressed in our society and our cultures around the world. I don't feel there's that many humans on the planet right now who fully understand the power of our sexuality, and more of the subtlety of the energy itself, of that creative force, right? Sex is ultimately creation, right? So it's part of our continual desiring, you know, desiring for more life, more expansion, more experiences. And oftentimes, as we well know, it's those things that will often lead us and steer us down different routes in different directions. Now, I'm definitely all for healing that thread if you're like me and have in the past experienced pain around sexuality, or guilt, or wrongness, or shame, or you know, things like sort of insidious promiscuity, so ways of using sexuality that afterwards felt really like, oh no, you know. So healing all of those shameful threads and truly bringing that base energy up into the heart, so that we can, as a generation, share that evolving learning about how to continue to rise from that very profound and rooted, grounded place, and understanding our sexuality in a very different way, so that we can become more powerful, but also from a place of integrity, of truly respecting one another and honoring from within our own imaginative capacity. Because what I'm practicing with now is using my imagination, my consciousness, my awareness to even look at my relationship dynamics and really go into my heart and ask myself whether or not this is, if we're going down this certain way, are we both truly being of the highest service to one another, or are we staying together out of fear of what will happen if, or what will happen next? And looking honestly at ourselves, and then ultimately when we have to grieve a change in our lives, any kind of change ultimately is grieving a past creation, right? So whenever we're maybe approaching or sensing that there might be change on the horizon, really owning our ability to expand and break through the past fears and really transmute and bring all of those maybe like dirty, murky energies up into the heart, so that we bring clarity to those situations and ultimately heal ourselves in the inevitable assisting of healing and raising up other people. Because I think when we get attached to other people, that's when I think there's just so many layers, right? There's so many layers to our own existence, and because we are one with the infinite, we're one with all there is. So we are that, and yet here we are playing this game of separation in an illusion of our own choosing, of our own dreamlike choosing. And so what we're doing with that conscious dream energy, with that conscious imaginative creative capacity, what we're doing with that is really everything. And how we're honoring ourselves in the integrity of the totality of, we want to be having amazing, exciting, adventurous, and really, really passionate and beautiful and compassionate experiences, but no longer do we want to feel like we have to be secret, or we have to be sneaking around, or that no, I have to deny that because one time that happened and this ended up happening and da, right? So oftentimes in the present moment, we rationalize ourselves out of doing something that might be for our highest good in that moment, because one time ago we did a similar sort of thing, but it ended up really going shit. So that's a situation where we're taking our baggage from the past and plonking it onto the present moment, because we're scared of recreating something. But if we're only tuning into our emotional guidance system, in the present moment, our emotional guidance system is always ushering us, always showing us something more and more and more of who we are and the potential of what we can feel and experience in this life. It's literally just a matter of if we choose to listen and if we choose to follow through with those higher callings, even though it might not look how we think it's supposed to look. Life is really amazing, isn't it? I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope that was useful to you. And feel free to get in touch. Have a wicked, wicked day. Love you loads. Peace out. Bye.
All to love. All to love.